Well, the NFL free agency period is upon us. And honestly, I have no idea what we're doing, and neither do you, and neither do the Titans. So let's dive into the free agency. Just about ready to kick off next on Upload Live. To be a little idle here this week, going on some sort of vacation or something like that, but I know he's been killing it behind the scenes. So shout out to Titans Rossi and everybody here on the network, giving you all the Titans content you could want and much, much more. So free agency period is upon us. The real situation I think that presents itself is a lot of these top tier free agents, which we'll get into tonight. You guys have any questions, just go ahead and comment and let us know. But I think a lot of these free agents that we're going to, for the big money, I think you're going to know that tomorrow. Tomorrow is when you can actually start talking to teams and stuff like that, get out of town. I mean, we know a lot of this stuff behind the scenes going on already. And like I said, I really feel firmly like a few years ago when Tom Brady signed with the Bucs, like that whole thing supposedly was done. Brady already knew he was going way before free agency even opened up. So I think a lot of these free agents already know where they're going tomorrow, and then they can officially sign in the afternoon on Wednesday. So again, tomorrow 3:13 and then 3:15 they can officially sign. I think the Titans, I don't know. I mean, if you know, let me know in the comments. I mean, I don't know if the Titans, I don't know if Rand knows what he's doing right now. I think a lot of this kind of all depends on the whole like quarterback thing. Are you in to rebuild or are you not? I think we all overreact to certain news, like Ben Jones. Okay. Yes, Ben Jones was released. I don't think that is the indicator that Titans are rebuilding, but I get it. You know, people want to come out with some videos and say, hey, look what's going on, and let you decide what you think. I think the bottom line is the Titans don't know what they're doing. I think they're doing the ultimate no-no. They're going to go with their, hey, got a pool here. Do I get in? Do I not? I'm going to put my little foot in here and see what it looks like, what it feels like. And then all of a sudden, like, that's just agony. You either jump in or you don't jump in at all. And I feel like we're going to do half and half. So on one end, you're going to have, okay, Ryan Tannehill is officially back. We'll get into the whole Derrick Henry thing in a little bit. But if Tannehill's back, you're going to piece it together. Okay. You got some real serious holes. Can we all agree on this? I think you guys can let me know who you want as your free agents. Give me your top 5 as we're getting people in here. We're over 50 right now. Offensive line, definitely the number one. I think wide receiver, tight end, offensive help on the horizon is very, very important if this team's going to compete for next season. Okay. Defense, I mean, you got to let me know what you want here. Like we got some missing pieces to the defense. Bud Dupree, they're going to release him. Okay. They're going to save some money. We're going to get into what that actually means here in a little bit too. But we got the whole thing with the defense. David Long Jr., not signed yet. Okay. Clock's ticking. I'd love to have him back. Monte Rice, fine. Okay. Cunningham already gone. Linebackers, an issue. Okay. I told you that last year. But again, here we are this year. It's an issue. Corner. Could use another corner. Just saw Jalen Ramsey go to the Dolphins for a 3rd round pick and tight end. Okay. That's on the surface. Okay, fine. Ramsey was never coming here. On the other end, if you really felt like this is going to be you and you're going to put all the chips in the middle of the table and go for it this year again, then Ramsey for a 3rd round pick doesn't seem like that big of a deal. I get with the salary cap and all that stuff. But again, we go back to the beginning. What are we doing? And I don't know what we're doing. You don't know what we're doing. And again, I'm going to say this one more time. The Titans have no idea what they're doing. Now, they might have an idea. but they don't know what they're doing right now. And when you look at it on the surface, again, quarterback is our biggest issue. If you're going to run it back again with Tannehill, I don't think this team's winning a Super Bowl. Okay? Can we get to the playoffs? Sure. Can we win the division title? Yes. Can we go much further than that? I don't think so. Okay? The other end, if you're going to trot out Malik Willis and you're going to trade Ryan Tannehill for maybe to the Jets or somebody else, then the ultimate issue there is, why are we going to spend so much on free agency for this go around? We're going to have a lot of cap room next year, but for 2023, we're at 27 some million dollars. We're like ranked number 9th in the NFL. We might actually be 8 now because the Dolphins, I believe, were ahead of us, and now they got Ramsey. But we're a top 10 team in free agency money, but doesn't mean we got to spend it. It rolls over. So why go all in on some of these free agents that some of you are loving to talk about? Again, we don't know what we're doing. And again, I don't think the Titans do. So Ryan Tannehill, there's been some smoke that he's going to be on his way out. There's been some smoke with that. There's been our official Titans for Life has put it out there that he will be back. So again, I don't know what direction they're going to go again with quarterback, but you think they would have figured this out. You think they would already have known as free agency is going to end. So let's get into this Let's get into this real quick because I've heard this comment. Bud Dupree going to be released now before June 1st so they can spend that money right away. Now they're going to take a significant more dead cap hit, less money available than if they would have waited to June 1st, but maybe they're going out and getting a guy. That's the thing. That's the theory, right? When you save money, you think everyone's going to go out and get a thing. Here's probably what's going to happen. They're probably going to work something out with Jeffrey Simmons. And again, we fell for this last year. Okay? Here's some of the likes coming on. I don't know what those hearts are. Where the hearts coming from? Those from Twitter? I don't know, but whatever. The problem, we fell for this last year with A.J. Brown. And again, don't get me started. I'm not going to toot my own horn and pat myself on the back. But that was terrible. I told you that was dumb. You didn't need to do it. I don't care if I'm a writer. I don't care if I'm a local media guy. At the end of the day, that was a terrible idea. And a lot of people finally came around when we played the Eagles and got killed, and then we fired John Robinson. Oh, all of a sudden then that was a terrible decision. Before then, a lot of you were sucking it up. You're like, hey, this is a great move. He wasn't going to play for us anyways. But that's crap. He would have. $4 million. That's all it would have cost him for last year. Don't want to make this about A.J. Brown, trust me. But it is significant when we're looking at Simmons. Simmons, again, 5th-year option picked up by the Titans. Means the Titans believe in him, okay? Simmons don't want to play for the 5th-year option because it's not as much money as he could get. And he's in his prime. He's ready to go. But don't forget, Jeffrey Simmons, there weren't a lot of teams interested in you from what you did unfairly when you were young, and you were coming off an ACL injury. A lot of people didn't like that. John Robinson, who we just threw to the Wolves, by the way, yeah, John Robinson really did invest a lot in Jeffrey Simmons, not him himself, but the people around him to see if he's worthy of coming to Tennessee. Remember, that draft was in Nashville. And Robinson went ahead and made it. It was actually a really good move. Simmons was a top 5 talent, and you got him at like pick 19. Okay? Point is, 5th-year option, Titans picked it up. So I'm sorry, Big Jeff, but that's how it works. You're going to play it. You're going to play through it. Titans, why would you rush into this? Why would you just take this extra money from Bud Dupree, assuming that's what they're going to do, and then just fork it over and give him a massive deal? Why would you do that right now? You have no idea what you're doing down the future. You don't even know if Jeffrey Simmons is a part of that right now, but you're going to go ahead and fork it all over. Here's the other thing. It's easy to cut, guys. It's easy to take someone else's mess and just cut. But the moment you got to spend your own money, the moment you got to put your name out there for something that you're going to go ahead and do that the other GM didn't do, that, my friends, a little bit more challenging than just cutting guys left and right. So I'm very interested to see what the new Titans general manager is really going to do here. So definitely let me know, comment as we're kicking off this show. Free agency, we got 71. See, we got Big O Titan in here. Shout out to him. He says, Payne 4 years, $90 million. Jeff will be 4 years, $100. Oh, I feel Big Jeff may be traded. Again, you don't need to do it right now, though. Like, you get where I'm going with this? You don't, now, if you have an offer on the table, which I'm going to go back to A.J. Brown, that was not like just a, oh my gosh, offer, first round pick, flop them around, and then you move up to 18. So you can overdraft a wide receiver who was probably going to go a little bit later in the early 20s. So you overreach there to get your new wide receiver who's supposedly like A.J. Brown. And then I think you got like a third later on. Again, you didn't need to do that right then and there. And ultimately, I guess it doesn't matter because A.J. Brown tore it up with the Eagles and Treylon Burks did show some signs for the Titans, but the Titans were so injury prone, it wasn't going to matter anyways. But with Jeffrey Simmons, you got to know what your future holds in Tennessee. You got to know if, hey, we're going all in this year. We're going to try to glue it together and get back to where we need to be because last year, we were 7-3, almost beat the Chiefs with Malik Willis. But if you're rebuilding and he's a part of your future, by the time you're good again, new stadium coming in, by the way, they got to keep that in mind. You're going to have to repay Jeffrey anyways. So, like I said, if you were going to go all in and rebuild this thing, you got to really think about trading Jeffrey Simmons. But you don't got to overreact right now to it. Just let it play out. Let it play out. Figure out what you're going to do first. See how this free agency period goes. See what you're doing with Ryan Tannehill. Then worry about Big Jeff. I don't care that Big Jeff deleted you off of social media. I don't care about any of that. And I get it. Everyone wants to get on here and post videos and all this kind of stuff and make it about the big thing on the radio. I get it. It's drama. You want to talk about drama. But again, I don't care. That's why you didn't see me on anything with that. I don't care. You know what? If he doesn't want to play for Tennessee, go with Buffalo. Go to Buffalo, buddy. Have fun. Just remember, the Titans were the one that stuck their neck out for you and gave you a chance in Tennessee when a lot of other teams would probably pick you in the second round. So it's got to mean something. Titans are going to pay you. Just be patient. Everyone be patient. Let's get to some of the comments as we get started here. Justin Lawson, what's going on, buddy? Says he's ready. Ryan Dodd, what's going on? What's up, Titans? How you guys doing? How are you doing? Joe Celia, part of the 145 Club. I appreciate it. Says, I wish we would have traded to number one. Now, to be fair, I think the Titans really were interested in moving up to number one. Who it was for, I have no idea. But going back to my original thought here, they were all in or they weren't all in, and they were just kind of half in, and I feel like they were half in. And I don't blame them. Like, throw a dart and see if it hits. If it doesn't hit, no big deal. No worries. Chef, what's going on? He's ready. Is it Hassan? What's going on? He says, Joe, shut up. SCP in the house. Awesome moderator. Appreciate him. Didn't want to trade for a QB unless one falls. Too much to give up. I agree with you on that one. I was not exactly happy to move up because I don't think we're going to be so-called that great this year, and we're just giving away top 10 talent. I don't think we could do that. Okay. Titans time. What's going on? Peyton in the house. Gotta love Ken Bonds, man. What's going on, Ken? Good to see you. Joe, what's going on? Tighten up. He says, let's tamper. Titans Rossi in the house. What's up, Rossi? Adam said would have given up Burks this year, first and second picks, plus next year's first 2025 for the overall number one pick. So teams can sign players. You would know. So you'll know more, Chef. Like, you'll be like, come across and be like, hey, Titans are going to be set to sign this guy. Okay. And then it can't be official till Wednesday. Sometimes guys, like Adam Humphries to Tennessee a few years ago, New England was still pushing hard until Wednesday. So you have some of that going on, but ultimately Humphries told Belichick, hey, I'm still signing with the Titans. So it's kind of like, you haven't signed that letter of intent yet, but the intent is there that you're going to sign on Wednesday, if that makes sense. And B, nice to see you both tonight. Rossi and the Upload Network. Hit that like button. I do appreciate it. Now, remember, I'm Titan Upload. Okay, this is Upload Live here on the Titan Upload Network. I don't have a YouTube channel anymore because it's all of ours. It's all the Titan Upload Network's channels. So that's why I think there is a misconception. Am I out of here? Am I not out of here? Did I sell it? What did I do with it? No, I just don't have my own upload network. I have the Upload Network, but I mean, I don't have my own Titan Upload channel anymore because I'm just posting everything on here anyway. So it doesn't really matter. Okay. CFB with Ash says Derrick Henry trade rumors. Smoke. I honestly, I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. I think it's a dumb thing. That's why I didn't comment. I didn't make a video on it yet, because the Titans already knifed a lot of people in the back. Okay. The new stadium, which they're still working through, and it's moved up a level and all that kind of stuff. It looks like it's going to go through. They're still kind of fighting about some things, but it's still got some, votes coming up and all that. The point is, the Titans tried to sneak one by you. So if you are interested in buying PSLs, you can have my PSL. Okay. You can just email me or TitanUpload27@gmail, or just leave me a Facebook message or on Twitter. The point I'm trying to make is the Titans, if you now transfer your PSLs or you sell your PSLs, will not give you any credit for the new stadium. Now, for some of you, you're like, hey, that's not a big deal. But for a lot of you, that's a slap in the face. Because what that's saying is, I just invested all this money in a product. I bought my PSLs. I bought season tickets every year and still have no Super Bowls to show for it. And now we're getting this big new stadium, and maybe I don't want to spend more money on PSLs. But I should still be able to transfer those or sell those, and someone else could buy them because it would remain the value high. No one's buying PSLs for the last 4 years when you're already leaving, and then you get there's nothing to look forward to because they're just going to go away anyways. Titans totally botched that. And they're going to have trouble over the next 4 years because I'm letting mine run out. I don't care. I do not care anymore. So the next 4 years, good luck finding people to go buy season tickets and buy those PSLs that are just going to sit there because there's no value to them now. They're done. They're over. And they don't even officially know about the new stadium, which really ticks me off. But going back to that, next year, Tannehill, and you're not going to re-glue it. You have to keep somebody there. No offense, Kevin Byard. Love Kevin Byard. But Kevin Byard isn't going to get all these people to buy season tickets on his own. Derrick Henry, on the other hand, probably could, because Derrick is Derrick. I mean, he's King Henry. I mean, he's the man. I mean, people want to go see Derrick Henry run the football. Kevin Byard, on the other hand, is really good on defense, and I love him, and he's one of my favorites, but I'm not going to pay all this extra money to go to a game so I can watch Kevin Byard run around on defense. The offense sells tickets, not necessarily wins championships, but that's my point. So, exactly Upload with Titan spend. I hope it's only for youth. Titan South, should we trade with the Raiders for the 4th pick? I thought the Colts have the 4th pick. No? Free agents, Jamal Dean and Mike McGlinchey. Simmons is going to be paid. He is. Ian's guilty. Colts, yes, have the 4th. Crypto, we should try to trade the Cardinals for the 3rd pick. Raiders are 7. Never mind. $25 million a year, probably. Moving on. Facebook user, hopefully will play our first Facebook comment of the night. How about that? I don't know who the Facebook user is, but doing smart things at free agency, draft the quarterback, and build from the draft. You got to do that. Definitely got to do that. EZ go in the house. No way we get the 7th pick. Upload. What do you want to do with the 11th pick in the draft? B French asks. The great comment. I got to know what we're doing. Ultimately, I'm probably going to go offensive line. And if my guy is sitting there, I'm probably going to draft a tackle. Someone that, down the next 10, 12 years, something that Conklin should have been before we messed that thing up. That's ultimately, I know one side of the offensive line is going to be glued in for years to come. I think we need at pick 11 a player who's going to make a real difference, not next year, not 2 or 3 years, but 7 or 8 years down the road. And that's not easy to find that guy. I mean, we've royally screwed up over the last few years for those number 1 picks, but I do think offensive line would be a great place. Now, you are in a great place if you feel like, hey, we're going to rebuild, then you can take the best player available because that guy is going to be down there 7 years down the road. And again, maybe if you're bringing Jeffrey Simmons back and that's good, you could look on the other end and say, okay, yes, we're bringing Jeffrey Simmons, but on the flip side of it, now maybe I don't need that defensive tackle, the defensive lineman. Now I can go other ways. Maybe I can have my longevity with the corner. Maybe I can, spend that number 11 on a quarterback that I really like that falls, because that happens every now and then. I mean, the Steelers did get Big Ben, and they weren't in the top 5. I want to say they were in 10 or 11 when they picked Big Ben, and he ended up being a franchise quarterback and be in the Hall of Fame. Was it a couple Super Bowls with the Steelers? So I think when we look at this whole thing, we have to figure out what we're doing. And hopefully by the draft, we'll have an idea. By tomorrow, free agency period, I mean, maybe we'll have a little bit more of a clue. SWGVGRVTY says Big Jeff has Casey's Motor Hall of Fame talent. Eric Blunt celebrates 5 months of membership with Big Jeff. Shout out to Eric. Appreciate it. Colts fan, but we still love him. Hello, Ducky. What's going on? Ken Moore. We're going to get into that. Yes, congratulations, Houston. Illinois gets a 9 seed. Oh, my gosh. 2 up and down for me. Shout out to Metamore Redbirds. The state of Illinois won the 3A championship last night, beating Chicago Simeon yet again. Beat them last year. They beat them this year. Except last year they lost a buzzer beater by Sacred Heart Griffin up by 2, and then they hit a 3 to beat Metamore in the championship game in overtime. This time they end up winning it. Dolphins got Ramsey, and we did re-sign Kinsey. Yes, we did. So let's get into this. So free agency, I'm going to add my marker because we're getting started. Boom, marker added, which means we are going to do our free agency. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to give you 5 free agents that I think the Titans may sign. And you can yell at me, okay? Now, I got my big board in front of me, okay? I also have the Athletics Top 150. They do a really, really good job, so shout out to the Athletic. Unfortunately, though, they suckered me into another year because they had me on auto pay or whatever it was, and I didn't get time to cancel it, so I'm stuck with it again. Although the draft guy that they come out with is just simply amazing, so I'm super pumped about that. So I'm going to give you 5 free agents. They're not going to be like the best 5 free agents, but I'm GM. Uploads GM tonight. And I'm going to be realistic with y'all on what we're doing. Now, ultimately, this is what I want to do. Trade Ryan Tannehill. I want to, I'm still up in the air on Simmons, but I'm going full out rebuild. That's what I want. That's what I hope. Next year at this time, we're going to be talking about the number 1 quarterback, and we have the number 1 pick. Worst case scenario, number 2. That's the hope. Fortunately, we're going to screw it up because we're going to be half in, half out. We're going to end up being like number 20th in the draft, just miss out in the playoffs, or just barely get in and be one and done. And we'll be starting all over again. We won't have a quarterback. We're thinking Ryan Tannehill again next year. And I still want to do that anymore. I love Ryan Tannehill. He's a great guy and a great quarterback, but I think this is the time. Time to move on from him. Okay? Now, Aaron Rodgers, I get it. We're probably not going to be in that one. Fine, whatever. Doesn't look like we're going to be able to get anybody in this year's draft. I mean, I don't even know how many of these guys are really that great. You know, the Levis guy, I heard a lot of mixed reviews on. Bryce Young, too small. CJ Stroud, he's an Ohio State guy. Who knows? Again, I would have tried to, do some sort of trade for Justin Fields, but that obviously didn't happen. Bears stuck with him. I think that's a good move. Great job trading down and get DJ Moore. And then, a couple or number one pick and a couple number twos or whatever it was that they got. Plus, they flip-flopped Carolina this year. So here's what I'm doing. Again, I really feel like we can't go out and overspend. Now, I get it. I'm going to give you the top guys offensively right now, according to The Athletic, that are going to cost a lot of money, and they're really not that great, but they're because of how free agency works, everybody's desperate, especially some of these teams that aren't the Chiefs, that don't have the swagger to suck you in. They got to overspend. Ask the Jaguars this. That's why the Jaguars are 31st. You want to know the AFC South? I got you covered. AFC South. Titans are 9. Texans are 5. I think the Colts are 20-21. And the Jaguars are 31. That's the breakdown of the salary cap. The Jaguars, I think, are still negative. So, Jacoby Myers, Orlando Brown. A lot of you want Orlando Brown. But, again, you're not. If you're rebuilding, that's the worst thing you could do. Okay? For a guy who's getting up there and you're going to way overspend on attack, no. Dalton Schultz, I loved him until I figured out how much he was going to cost. Then I became out on him. Let's see. Isaac Samalo would be interior offensive lineman from the Eagles. You got quarterback Lamar Jackson and Jimmy Garoppolo. Those are going to be both no's because I'm not giving Baltimore 2 number 1 picks. And then running back Mike Sanders, Rashad Penny. Not doing any of those. So where we stand is where we're at. I mean, none of those guys, we're gonna overpay for these guys. So those guys are out. Maybe Jacoby Myers will get back to him. He is on the thumbnail. So let's go. So we know the issue is offensive line. Ben Jones just got cut. We also know wide receiver's an issue. We know the offense is a train wreck. Now, there's a couple ways we could do this. Number one, we just go all out. We go all out. Total war, you name it, offense, and the draft. Every pick's on offense. We even trade guys to move back, to pick up more picks and take more offensive guys. Take more receivers, take more linemen. Eventually, some of these guys are going to work out. Boom, that's what we're doing. Okay? That's one half. The other half, you start to make some good moves in free agency. Guys who are durable, guys who have a little bit of upside, guys who are showing a little bit of promise, a little bit of growth, going to be relatively cheap, okay? But ultimately, even if you bring other guys in down the line, these guys will still be able to be a part of the team and provide one thing John Robinson couldn't do for us, depth. Provide depth. And they're cheap. You play Madden, you play franchise, you know you can really kick butt if you do really well in free agency and you don't overspend. Because you get a lot of these guys to provide support, to provide depth. So why I like Bradley Bozeman is he's a guy who's going to come from Carolina, okay? I believe he got a lot of his stuff from the Baltimore Ravens, but he's a guy who's going to fill your center role. And you don't need to draft a center high in the draft because we saw what happened when John Robinson came. He went out and got Ben Jones. And Ben Jones, for the most part, has been great. So all those people knocking Ben Jones out, he's not on the Titans anymore. You're crazy. Because Ben Jones, he had 2 concussions or whatever, and he had a tough year. He was an Iron Man. That guy wants to play. Ben Jones wants to be a part of playing every day, every week, every game, okay? Bradley Bozeman's going to be a physical guy. He's not going to have the highest pro football focus grade. I think it was like a 63, which is extremely low. But after week 7, he became the full-time starter. He's the one guy Pro Football Focus has ranked as the Carolina Panthers, for their offensive line, top free agent that they cannot lose. They have to re-sign this guy because of versatility. He can play center, he can play guard. He can do a lot of different things, but predominantly he's going to be center. The Titans could use both a center and a guard. So we could also use versatility. So 59 starts in the past 4 years. He started 1 game for the Ravens in his rookie year, and then since then, he's been able to hold up for the most part. That's the guys that we really have to look at. guys that can actually hold up and play a full season. I think this guy can. Now, I know the Daly thing really got us freaked out with Carolina with the offensive line. I can't remember getting a guy from Carolina that actually has worked out for this team going back in the day. I even believe we make a trade for some Carolina Panthers and they weren't very good. Kerry Collins was pretty good for us, right? In 2008. But my point is this guy, he's a larger guy. He's a physical guy. He's going to have a better run blocking grade than he will pass blocking. But that's okay because, again, we're not changing anything. And if you are bringing Tannehill back, which he's already on roster, which we know he's on the roster, then you want to be able to run the football. This guy's going to be able to get it to you. Plus, he's not going to cost overly that much. Now, to Carolina, they might be your biggest threat. Now, if Carolina decides to move on from him, you probably can get him pretty super cheap. Yes, Kevin Byard, I don't know if he'll be a trade candidate, but definitely we looked at that last time. He's someone that's probably not ultimately safe going forward, okay? Even if you restructure him. Ryan Harris, definitely go check out Ryan. Shout out to him. Says, what's up, Upload? Hey, what's up to you, buddy? Hope all is well. Again, the Jump Pass, awesome podcast. You definitely want to listen to it and you can find it anywhere. Egg says, we need to get on O-line. Need a left tackle or trade down. You guys are talking about the draft. Why extend Big Jeff right now? Built up rapport with his career. Like he's, again, 59 games he started. He only started one game his rookie year. So the next 4 years, he's starting 59 games. Again, he's on the upside. I feel like he's getting, last year, he's a guy who solidified himself after week 7. When he kind of was brought in on a little prove-it deal type thing, wasn't making a whole lot of money, and he was able to be one of the best linemen that Carolina had. That's why Pro Football Focus was like, hey, this is the one guy they can't lose on that offensive line. So that's something to think about. So let's keep going. Number 4. All right, so that was number 5. Number 4, okay? Again, not going to be a sexy name by any means. Actually, Boozman was on my list. He's number 8. Number 8 as far as offensive line. This guy wasn't on my list. But this guy, Cameron Fleming from the Denver Broncos, is a guy that can do it all. Play left tackle, play right tackle. If you're not a firm believer in Petit Frere, this is a guy that this should have happened the last couple years. This was a missing piece to our offensive line. We didn't want to bring in Dennis Kelly again. Remember that? Even the Colts got rid of him and left. They did bring him back, but that would have been a guy to shore it up. He's already been a part of the team. He knows how it works. Players loved him. Offensive line was really gelled with him. Henry loved him. I thought Vrabel loved him. Obviously, Todd Downing didn't, whatever. They didn't do it, okay? Then last year, they brought in a guy named Jamarco Jones from Seattle. He did absolutely nothing. He was hurt all year, okay? Then they bring in this Daly dude who is terrible, okay? They even traded for him. Cameron Fleming, again, you want guys that are going to play. This guy is definitely, Pro Football Focus, I know is not the end-all be-all, but again, really good, solid grade. Second best offensive lineman for Denver. And a lot of people thought it's a no-brainer to bring him back to Denver. Over 900 snaps last year in 2022 alone. And again, he can play both right and left. So going forward, okay, if you're gluing it together, key part here in free agency is going to get a quality guy who can be your swing tackle. And if things break down or if things don't work out with a rookie, this guy can fill in. We haven't had that the last couple of years, if you think about it. Things have gone south real fast when key guys get hurt like Lewan. Now we got a little bit of insurance. Again, I don't think this guy's going to cost a whole lot. This is the guy that's not even on the top 150, okay? So I'm going right away. I'm gonna preserve my money. I'm not overspending on these guys, just to throw that out there to you. I'm not overspending on any of these guys. But I feel like these are two little nuggets we can bring in here, help us move forward, and I think we're going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think our offensive line is starting to be built. Okay. But you need some veterans on this offensive line. You need offensive linemen who aren't going to break down, and you need offensive linemen that can actually play multiple versatile spots. And that's what we love in Jon Robinson. Sam says, how good is again, didn't really do a whole lot Pro Football Focus as far as his grade overall. But on the flip side of it is he's a guy who, when you're talking about a center, you want a guy who's smart. You want a guy who's battle tested. He's been on a lot of those Raven teams. Started a lot of games as a Raven. And the Ravens have been really good over the last few years. I know last year was kind of whatever when Lamar got hurt, but the Ravens, when you talk about running the football, okay, they don't pass it a whole lot, but they definitely run it, whether Lamar or run it with the running backs, whatever they do. He was a piece to that, right? Plus, he can play guard if you need him to. So if you go out and you get a guy that you just can't pass on in the draft as far as the center goes, then maybe you start with Boozman and then you move him over to guard. And we definitely have some options at guard. Fleming is a tackle, though. So Fleming can be your right tackle in case Petit Frere flames out, or he's your left tackle to compete with Radens or Daly or Jamarco Jones if they haven't cut him by then. But that gives you a little bit more flexibility. If you go ahead and get your left tackle in the draft, well, gosh, like, sure, you go with your number 11 pick, but you have this guy in the background in case, let's be honest, a lot of these rookies can't. It's hard for them to stay healthy playing 17 games now. So, again, this gives you some flexibility. Plus, if you are going to do the whole thing with Tannehill, oh, gosh, I forgot to add my marker. I'll add it there. If you are doing your thing with Tannehill and you're bringing him back and you do make the playoffs, it's not a bad thing to actually have some depth on your offensive line that you're not going to overproduce or overpay for it. Titans need a new start. We need a new everything on that offensive line. And they're not bringing back Nate Davis. Now, here's the thing. None of you brought this up. Interior linemen, I went Bradley Boozman, who's ranked 8th for the Athletic. You know who was ranked 3rd? Nate Davis. So they are with me. The problem is Nate Davis hasn't been healthy over the years. And there are a lot of people that think that Nate Davis hasn't really pushed himself hard enough, so to speak. So therefore, Nate Davis is not coming back. That's according to Jim Wyatt, and the Titans have not re-signed him yet. Need explosive weapons on offense if we don't take a receiver at 11. Maxwell says definitely take Addison, then Darnell at 41. As an outsider looking in, I don't see the Titans going for at all with Tannehill at quarterback. How much faith do we have in Tannehill? How much faith in Malik Willis? Thank you, Philly, for stopping by. And I do like your point of view because you're not in there as far as being totally biased when it comes to the Titans like some of us are. But yeah, I think that is definitely something to be honest with ourselves about, is what the heck we are doing. No. We are not signing Shane. We're not signing Paris Campbell. Paris Campbell could be amazing. He just can't stay on the field. He just can't do it. And we've done that. And now we really have to face ourselves in the mirror and say, hey, look, we really need to do a better job. Okay. So I got to keep these guys going, but that's number 3. So let's get into number 2, or I'm sorry, that's number 4. Let's get into number 3. Okay. Number 3, I won't play the little intro. Number 3, Foster Moreau. Okay. I don't know how good he is because Waller was on the team. Carr was a good quarterback. The offensive line wasn't always great. Their coaching hasn't always been there either. I don't know how much he's been a part of it. But you know what? He's better than Jeff Swain. Same number, but he's better than Jeff Swain, okay? He actually keeps improving. Keeps getting better year after year. Plus, he's a solid blocker. And again, he could be a down-the-field type threat because they usually went with Waller. He undercut him. It is what it is. You have Chigakonkwo coming back. I don't know what you're going to do with Austin Hooper. I told you this, and I'm going to stand by it. Austin Hooper was not happy in Tennessee. He was not happy because he wasn't really a part of the offense. And when they did make him a part of the offense, he did really good. But Todd Downing screwed that up. So he don't want to come back. So he's going off somewhere else. And again, giving you the top tight ends as far as ranking goes, Moreau 127. So I don't think he's going to cost you a whole lot like Dalton Schultz would. Now, sure, Dalton Schultz, if the money was right, fine. But I'm not overpaying for Dalton Schultz, and neither are the Cowboys. But when you look at Austin Hooper, he's not even ranked. Not even ranked in the top 150, and Jeff Swaim's on there too, and he's not ranked either. So, but this is not a bad upside pick for you. This is a guy that, if you're looking to win next year, or you're looking to be competitive, he's going to give you some options. And then you throw in an offense philosophy, with Tim Kelly and his offense, you can design a couple nice packages with Foster and with Chig Okonkwo. And I think ultimately that would be something I would want to see going forward. And I know some of you aren't exactly happy with what I'm talking about here, but I think this is not terrible. Again, would I love Dalton Schultz? Sure, but I'm not overpaying for Dalton Schultz. We're not in a place right now that we can do that, unfortunately. Okay? Gesicki's not bad either. But again, these guys are going to be a lot of money. Hayden Hurst was with the Bengals. I mean, what did Hayden Hurst do against Chiefs last year to get them to the Super Bowl? Not much. And they had a really good quarterback. Tonyan had a drop-off in Green Bay. Again, we could blame Aaron Rodgers. We can do all that, but Tonyan has something to do with that as well. Jordan Akins, the Texans, I don't know, you don't really do much for me. And then we're getting into Austin Hooper. So I think this is not a bad one. This is one that I believe ESPN or whatever was saying is a possibility for the Tennessee Titans all along. I think it makes sense. You can block. We don't know. He might have higher upside. I think only like 430 some yards last year, but man, he'd fit right in with the offense because most of these guys didn't have 400 yards receiving. So again, he does show a little promise, and he's not Jeff Swaim, so I am all for it. So let me keep these guys going, and I'll add the marker because that's something new. This is totally overlooked. A lot of you will not see this coming, but I am thinking, okay? For Tennessee, how many games last year did we go into the game where it came down to the wire and we were holding our breath? Week 1 against the Giants. That game could have won us the division, right? That game could have really set the tone for the season. Guess what happened? You know what happened. That's why this guy is my number 2 free agent. He fits Tennessee style perfectly. This guy actually can make a 58-yard field goal. Yeah, Fat Randy, he can't make a 49-yarder, but Matt Gay can. And that is something I'm thinking about. He missed twice last year. Yes, he missed an extra point, but he missed 2 field goal attempts. How the last time going into a season for the Tennessee Titans were we not worried about a kicker? Okay? I get it. You don't want to spend, but the way we play, the games are usually rough. They're usually come down to the wire, last few possessions. We need someone who can kick a dang field goal. Okay? 101 for 115 in his career. Again, you might have to overpay for him a little bit because I think he is the top kicker on the market. But if you're looking to go ahead and patch these things together, I know you need some offensive linemen. I know do some things in the draft. Then overspend on something that's going to help you. Overspending on a receiver who you're not going to use, dumb. So bringing in like Odell Beckham and then not even having a plan how to use him, that's ridiculous and dumb, okay? Bringing in one of these high-priced tight ends and not use them, like Jonnu Smith a few years ago, dumb. But you know what? You bring in Matt to kick field goals, you're going to basically say, hey, look, he's pretty much automatic, and he can kick 50-yard field goals. He's not going to make every one, okay? He's not going to make every 50-yard field goal he puts up there. But at the end of the day, he can at least go out there and try it out and make a 56-yard field goal. When Fat Randy, we know, couldn't even go out there and hit a 49-yarder. So, again, I like this. I think it's definitely something that I forgot to have my marker again. I'll get used to it. But I do think this is something that is long overdue, us having a kicker in Tennessee. Robbie Gould, that's fine. Okay, I'm a few hours from Chicago. I know how great he was for the Bears. He's pretty good with the Niners, but he's just getting older and older. Just bring in this guy. Just bring it. How old is he? That's a really good question. Okay, so one of you guys will find it before I do. But how old is he? I don't know. Let's find out. Let's see. He's 231 pounds. He's 28 years old. That's ridiculous. Why not bring this guy in? Just flat out ridiculous. Bring him in, man. Overspend him. 28 years old. Jeff, come on. Bring him in. Bring him in. All right, last one. We'll save it. We'll go back to the main screen. You get into free agency. A lot of you are on me because you want these high free agents. You know, you want me to say Orlando Brown. You know, defensively, let me just look at my list on defense here. You want me to say maybe James Bradbury, top corner on the board. Or maybe Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker, which I'd love to have in Tennessee. Okay, or Davenport. Some of you are always, these guys get released like Frank Clark. You're like, bring him in. Come on, bring in some Frank Clark. No, I don't want no Frank Clark. Okay? I don't want no Frank Clark. But my point is, like, there are a lot of guys out there. And Ken Moore left a comment earlier. I think the first thing you want to do, and yes, Titans talk, I would love Cam Sutton. Cam Sutton as a cornerback would be great. Okay? He would be great. I think that would fit a lot of different things for us. Then you wouldn't have to really overwork yourself on Fulton and McCreary all the time, where you would have a nice, realistic option to fit in here. Everybody wants these high praise, high names. But at the end of the day, we are not in that market this year, folks. We're not. Next year we might be. This year we're not. So when we're flirting around $20-some million to spend, a lot of it's probably going to go to Big Jeff down the line, right? I mean, I really do think the Titans are going to work some. I think that's going to be one of their primary focuses. But what I'm talking about here is, and this goes back to what Ken Moore said earlier, David Long Jr., sign the guy. Okay, if you're worried about the future and you're investing in the next couple of years as the Titans being good, which I'm still optimistic on that, David Long Jr. needs to be a part of the plan. Now, I get it. He's had some soft tissue injuries, but at least he's played through a lot of them, unlike, Marcus Johnson, which, a lot of you sold your soul to Marcus Johnson a few years ago, multiple times. Don't forget that, multiple times. But I do really feel like going forward, this is something that, we got to be cautious on. But I do think David Long Jr., the thing is, too, like, we know how good he is. I'm not going to overspend for him. I'm not overspending for him. I believe they have him as the fourth best linebacker available behind Levante David. And they got him number 12 overall out of their 150. So they're really high in David Long Jr. and he's produced. But I do think you have to be realistic with yourself. But I would like to sign him. It just sucks that J-Rob never believed in signing guys during the year. He made sure we had to wait to the end. I don't know what the reasoning for that is. That's a New England philosophy. I think that's pretty much dumb. But again, we got a couple guys that we got to figure out. Tier Tart, he's really good, but he's not going to be back because of the agent. Hooper, I like Hooper, but I don't think he wants to be around. He's not going to be back. Robert Woods, let him run to the Texans. Good for him. Good for him. So let's keep this thing going, okay? So number one, we're at 130. Don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to tighten up that like button. We just appreciate it here. We are live on YouTube today. We are live on Twitter, and we actually live on Facebook. We're doing the whole, we're doing the trifecta today. And I don't know how that's going to work. Again, I've only done YouTube before, but we'll see, and then we'll get some more of your comments to close the show. So here we go. Back to number one. We'll play it out. All right. So my number 2 guy, Matt Gay, former kicker from the Rams, former Buck. I do feel like we need a kicker. We need a guy. I'm not going to overspend him on the draft because that's not guaranteed either. But this guy's pretty much guaranteed. Lock him up for the next few years. Again, if you're rebuilding, then no, this makes no sense. So I tried to do a little back and forth here. Again, if you're rebuilding, then no. Probably should have just kept on to Randy Bullock. Here we go. Number 1. This is a good one. This is a good one. I was back and forth on this one. So the thumbnail would lead you to believe, all right? The thumbnail would lead you to believe that number 1 would be the former New England Patriot, Jakobi Meyers. Now, Jakobi Meyers had a good year last year, 800 yards receiving. He had some touchdowns. He had some drops, but he had some touchdowns. 6'2", 200 pounds. It runs like a 4.6. Okay. Pretty solid guy. He's been pretty reliable for New England over the last few years. Feels like he's going to get an opportunity to get paid. And usually when those guys happen around New England, they don't stay in New England. They move on. And a lot of them come south to Tennessee and they end up in Nashville. That's a good option. Some of you are saying Odell Beckham, DJ Shark. I actually like DJ Shark, former Lion. Hardman, I do like him from Kansas City, but he's hurt a lot. So I can't really go in that direction. Paris Campbell's always hurt. Juju Smith, I don't like him because he doesn't like A.J. Brown. Allen Lazard from the Packers, which hasn't always been good or whatever the case is. Mac Hollins. Darius Slayton is kind of, not very good. And then Robert Woods, we know, signed with the Texans just yesterday or whatever it is. It's going to be a receiver for my number 1. We've already kind of touched up on the offensive line. We did those things. We don't know if we're going to be good or not next year, but we at least got to play like we're going to be decent. So the number 1, and then I'll defend it, and you guys could yell at me and do what you think because that's what we do. The number 1 free agent I think the Titans will sign this year, Allen Lazard. And there's a couple reasons why I think he'll be our biggest free agent acquisition of 2023. Number 1, he fits the Vrabel philosophy. He's a great blocker. There's a stat out there comparing the yards, rush yards when he's on the field. And I want to say like every rush was like +1 yard with him on the field. And when you add up all the rushes, that's a lot of yards long term, right? He's 6'5". I'm so sick and tired of Cody Hollister. Like, he's a great dude off the field. I love that he's a Christian. I mean, we'll put him over here. But Cody Hollister trotting out there with his long hair, and the only reason why he's out there is because he blocks. And every time he's out there, they run the football because that's Todd Downing's philosophy. Just gets us in a whole lot of trouble. The other guy, I like him as a person, and I know he's close to Mason, and that's awesome. But Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, I'm done on him too. Can't do it anymore. Done it 2 years. Can't do it anymore. I know some of you want to keep going with Racey McMath. That's what you want to do. Shout out to you, but I'm done with him too. I am ready for an overhaul, Robert Woods included, of Titans wide receivers other than my guy, Mason Kinsey. Okay, whatever. But my guy, okay. I know I lost train. Oh my gosh, I can't even think about it. Okay. Treylon Burks. My guy, Treylon Burks. He's the only one I really care about. Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Oh my gosh. We already talked about some of these other, oh my gosh. Cody Hollister, right? Conley. Oh my goodness. What are we doing to ourselves? Like, nobody would want these guys. You could put them on the market tomorrow. No one's going to take these guys, right? We do this to ourselves all the time. Look how great Racey McMath is at camp. I mean, he's just destroying Greg Maben. That's the problem. It's Greg Maben. Cody Hollister. I mean, nobody praises that guy. The only one that praises him are the local media because they can't talk bad about him. But once he doesn't resign and go somewhere else, then they'll start bringing up him. You want a guy who can do multiple things, okay? Now, before you blast me on this, Allen Lazard would have been our number one receiver last year by yardage and touchdowns. And like he would have been, because our number one receiver was a running back last year. Yes, Hilliard, a running back. So when you look at him, he has started a lot over the last couple of years, 28 starts, 6'5". He is faster. Yes, he is faster. He might have a little bit more droppage and kind of not show up as much as maybe Jacoby Myers, but he is faster. He's got him, he's 6'5" instead of 6'2". He's going to be a guy that we can actually, be a nice outlet. And maybe we can coach him up a little bit, right? Maybe there was just something a little bit off with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe there was something a little bit off on the system that they ran in Green Bay with LaFleur's system. Maybe he comes down to Tennessee and ground and pound, and maybe he's a guy that we might be able to use, okay? Might be able to use. And if you sign him for the next 3 years or whatever the case is, it might not be a bad option for the Tennessee Titans. Then you're going to trot out Treylon Burks. Then you're going to trot out Allen Lazard. And then you're going to trot out the unknown where you're going to draft a guy, whether it be in the second round or wherever you're going to get, maybe first, who knows. But that's going to be a pretty decent unit on offense. Then you got Ryan Tannehill. You got, Derrick Henry. I still think there's some guys I'm going to give you some wild cards here. I think the Titans could bring in free agents, not spend a lot of money, but definitely bolster up that offense. But if I'm thinking out loud here, and I'm going to put a lot into this offense next year, and I'm going to put a lot into this team and try to get us back the fastest routes. Even though I think it's dumb, I wouldn't do it, but I think their foot's half in the water here. I think they got to go all in on the offense. They have to make the offense as competitive as anything. And again, defensively, we are not out of the woods yet. We might be out of Robert Woods, but we're not out of the woods. We still need another corner, okay? We still are banking on that Kevin Byard is going to be a madman and play the whole year like he has the last few years. Iron Man, okay? We still need more defensive help with Simmons on that line. We still need another pass rusher because I'm not going to the year with Weaver as my number 2 alongside Landry, okay? Especially now that we're moving on from Bud Dupree. And the ultimate thing we're going to need is a solid linebacker because we can't re-sign David Long, and if we do, we still need more depth at the middle linebacker position because I'm not sure I believe all that in with, like I said, with Monte Rice. So those are my 5. You can blast me all you want. We only have $27 million. And here's the thing that frustrates me the most with a lot of people is they sit here, they do their mock drafts. They sit here and they bring in their free agents. And they're playing with house money, baby. They're just playing with house money. It's money you don't have. And when it comes to the NFL, coming down the pike here, next year we are going to be in cap heaven. Because we are going to get so much cap room next year, it's unbelievable. But how do you screw that up? By screwing it up this year. And you got to have a plan. You got to know what you're doing. And I have no idea what they're doing. And the thing is, I feel like this has to be mentioned, and I mention it all the time, and I don't really hear it anywhere else. But next 4 years are really, really important. Because when that new stadium comes, and they've already dug the hole by not allowing PSLs to transfer, okay, so people can't sell their PSLs, and if they do, they lose all the rights moving into the new stadium as far as for the Titans giving you any funding whatsoever towards your new season tickets. They need to put a team on the field that's going to be able to be called a winner. Just look at what happened in the Rams. Rams were terrible last year. But the year before, they won the Super Bowl. A year after, whatever it was, with the new stadium. Okay? Minnesota got a new stadium. They've been really relevant over the last few years. They haven't been great, with Kirk Cousins and all that. But last year they were really good, and a couple years before that they were really, really good until they got beat by the Saints or whatever on a fluke play. New stadiums. The Chicago Bears probably going to be getting a new stadium around the Arlington Heights area. They bought all that land, and I know that the Soldier Field wants to build them a dome now in Chicago with the mayor and all that. But it's too little too late. Most Chicago people, most people in that area have already given up on Soldier Field. They are ready to move on, and they see that prize in Arlington Heights. So much the Bears could do there, make it into so much of an atmosphere. They don't have to worry about parking, can make it more in the fun zone, more modern. Yeah, the Bears are moving to Arlington Heights. They're going to want to be relatively good when they do that. That's my point. The Titans have to really think about the long-term effect of this season. If they go into this season with their foot half in the water and half out, they're going to really destroy what they could have, and they're going to have to work harder towards it. And what I mean by that is they'll be basically drafting and be the Chicago Bulls of the NBA, where they always seem to be drafting the 10 through 15, and that's not where you're going to make, especially in the NBA when you only have top 3, top 4 guys that are like for sure superstars. The NFL, you may be able to find something in the top 10, but where the Titans will be drafting will be like 18, 19. Be just hovering around winning the division and maybe just fall a little short like this year. Luckily for us, there's so many bad teams that we actually fell right in at 11, and that's where we were. We actually could have been 10, believe it or not, if Carolina or whatever, New Orleans won or lost or vice versa. So I do feel like we're missing the boat on that. Plus, the other thing is, on some of these baseball teams over the years, a full rebuild, not half, not whatever, like the White Sox always do. It's a full one. That works a lot better than the half. So if you're going to make Simmons a part of the future, then he's got to be relevant 4 years. If you don't see him relevant 4 to 5 years down the road, then you can get rid of him now and you'll get the most in return for him. And I feel like that are some things that we really need to discuss, but we don't know the answer to them. We don't know what we're doing. I want to rebuild. It doesn't mean I'm not a fan. The next 3 years are going to be awful. But you know what? You might have an option to get that number 1 quarterback, something that this franchise. We've seen Steve McNair. We got him at 3. Okay. We've seen Vince Young. Was it Vince Young? We also got at 3. We saw Marcus Mariota at number 2. It doesn't guarantee, but we have not had, other than McNair and a rookie of the year and Vince Young before Fisher kind of screwed that thing up, we haven't had that guy in Tennessee. You know, we've been rocking out with Ryan Tannehill, a guy we traded for a number 4 from the Dolphins. We were rocking out in 2008 with Kerry Collins. Kerry Collins took the helm, and we were rocking out with him. We haven't been the Colts. We haven't had that guy fall in our lap. Maybe next year's the year. But we can't do it if we bring back Ryan Tannehill. So, again, I'm ready up for comments. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We did go over an hour, so I apologize that. I'll stay 5 more minutes. It's great to be back with you guys, talk Titans. Tomorrow's going to be a big day. You know, we might not hear our name called, and maybe that's a good thing. Because if we overspend on some of these guys, then it's probably the writing on the wall. They're going to glue it together. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I get it. Some of you feel like the team, 7-3, number 1 seed a year ago or whatever it was. And then 7-3 last year at one time. I just think it's fool's gold. We're probably not going to do that much with that. Jeremy, will leave him with the last comment. It says, I will say some things. Who folds first? Tricky tactics when it comes to money. Just call it like it is. I agree. Just call it like it is. You guys were awesome tonight. Don't forget to tighten up that like button on the way out. Hope you enjoyed the show. Solomon, shout out to you as well. I always have to say hi to Solomon. And thanks again for the super chat. If I go back up here, super chat, where's that at? Super chats from Joe. So I appreciate that. So again, Titans, what are we doing? We have no idea. So we have to let the story unfold. It starts tomorrow. Make a splash. Maybe the Titans really are going to go all in with Tannehill and Henry one more year. Don't really do anything in the next few days. Still not sure on Tannehill. I think we still have no idea what we're doing. So until next time, tighten up. And we'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.